Alluded to, we have not seen charges yet from the SEC, but there is very much a legal angle here at the heart of the investigation. 7 FIFA officials arrested yesterday in Zurich. You're looking at some of the tape there from that Swiss city. The U.S. Justice Department hoping to bring them to America to face charges. 6 of the officials, though, say they are planning to contest their extradition. And in fact, some are telling us this could drag on for a year, especially if there is an appeal. For what happens next, we are joined by Doug Burns. He is a former federal prosecutor. Doug, it is great to see you.
Thank you.
So what if these officials are not in trouble with the Swiss law?
Right.
The U.S. cannot get them here, right?
Well, I mean, not necessarily. You go into an extradition process, as you just teed it up, and it can take time. I've been in extraditions, when I was a lawyer with DOJ myself, and basically you're entitled to contest it on a number of grounds. A, is the crime listed in the extradition treaty? B, are you the same person that's wanted? And the point is, putting aside the merits, it can take time because you're entitled to fight it. And as you also pointed out, you can appeal it.
So, Doug, as far as the U.S.'s relationship with Switzerland, the only other track record that's sort of well known by the business world is about taxes. That is to say, can we get people that we think broke the law but are in Switzerland? They broke Swiss law, they broke U.S. law. And as you say, obviously lawyers on both sides can play forever.
Well, you raise in another interesting dynamic, which is where's the jurisdiction in the U.S. for a lot of these crimes. The bad news for the defendants is a lot of the transactions were done by way of U.S. financial institutions, and it's really not that hard, is the point, to establish jurisdiction in the United States.
Okay, what did you think about the comments yesterday from U.S. AG Loretta Lynch saying we are going to root out the corruption in FIFA? She was really strong.
I mean, I'm kind of smiling because I was colleagues with Loretta in the Eastern District for many years, worked with her. She was very strong. I mean, I've been listening to what you guys have been saying, and it's very interesting because there's a big international dynamic to this. In other words, the European mentality, we're doing nothing wrong. As you said a minute ago, this is the way business is done. I mean, I've been in many, many bribery cases in the last 30 years, and there's a huge distinction in the way it's viewed.
I wasn't really kind of implying that for Europe. I was just talking more about parts of South America, parts of Asia. When we speak to businessmen, they just say, okay,
I didn't mean to tie it down, but you might find this interesting out of my mouth. I've been in cases with businessmen who said, we simply cannot do business in that location, and I'm not giving you a particular one, unless we do this. Does that make it right? No. But does it give an explanatory gloss of common sense? Yes. So I think, Sepp Blatter, he wasn't charged with anything. I think that's
amazing.
Big
that's
question.
Amazing.
Huge question. I think what Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General, and the interim U.S. Attorney,
Doug, what does he have? Honestly, what does he have on everybody else? Because he's the head of the organization. I mean, there are numerous people for decades.
Well, you got to remember something else. I mean, they flipped Chuck Blazer, right? He wore a wire. They have ostensibly lots and lots of taped conversations that are going to be really, really potent and powerful. So now in discovery, you start seeing what that is. And then the question is, they're going to put tremendous pressure on those in the case to cooperate, ostensibly maybe against others. I'm not going to name the top guy, but the point is they're going to be looking to try to do that.
All right, Doug, sense of timing. As you rightly point out, there's a lot of moving parts right now. We're not exactly sure how this is going to go. I heard you say timing. We've been reading and hearing about a year just for the extradition alone. Does that seem like a reasonable time frame?
That's an entirely reasonable time frame. I would say about a year. Then there'll be a decision as to whether or not there's an extradition. Remember one other point, and I've discussed this with you in the past. It's interesting, and that is that virtually every extradition treaty does give the country that's being requested the right, regardless, not steeped in any legal reason, to refuse to extradite their own citizen. Remember that.
Okay, so we're going to hear more.
Yeah.
Doug Burns, thank you as always. Great to see you. Joining me there, Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor.